some ideas. We thought we'd address the community first before just saying fuck it, implementing it. We want to kind of get your guys' thoughts, get you guys' critiques, and try to come up with something together and make this server, great. This last week and a half-ish has kind of been a little slow. As you see, a lot of people have been doing other games. A lot of people have been doing their own things, which is perfectly normal for a server to have. Is these little low sparks. So, just gonna talk today. We're gonna have a conversation, maybe address some things, and try to fix some things that are problems that are in the server. As always, we ask everyone to be kind of playful and respectful towards each other, and not trying to get into too much topics unless we need to get into some topics. So I'm just gonna wait till Luke gets here, and if not, then I'll start. What up, everyone's having an amazing Saturday, and they're enjoying their weekend so far. All right. DM Luke again. If he doesn't respond here pretty soon, I'm just going to start the meeting. I'm going to give you guys some action. So how we're going to start it, can kind of give you guys critiques and some stuff. So we know the server has been dead for a while. A lot of people were playing a lot of other games, doing a lot of other stuff. We understand that. We note that. So besides obviously the inactivity, we kind of want to hear people's stories and stuff like that of some things that they could see or recommend or kind of stuff like that, kind of giving critiques, stuff like that. So, oh, fucking, here we go. Luke's DMing me finally. So yeah, Luke is struggling with some technical difficulties right now. Hello. Hi again, Luke. Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, speaking 5 minutes to myself like an absolute shimp, even though it says it was lit up and then it just disconnects on me. So, can everybody hear me? Everyone, can you hear my half-dead English voice, chimp voice? Oh, cheers for that, Red. Appreciate it. Yeah, so I've just been talking to myself for the past 5 minutes like an absolute spoon, so that's a good start to it. Nice one. So I'll try that again, take two, let's get back into it. So welcome guys to the long-awaited community meeting. Yeah, chimp emoji. It has been on the agenda for a while now. We have been looking to plan it and get everyone on board of what's been going on. Obviously, people will have seen for quite a while for the past 3 weeks. It's been stagnant on the server. Things have been going down. Population has been lowered, and I kind of want to go over the timeline what's been happening over the past 3 weeks. So there's been a lot of problems we've had to deal with. We've had to be reactive to a lot of situations with former law team members, former staff members, in the regards that when we've addressed situations and we've done our due diligence and we've given space, time, they've decided to give us feedback, abandon the project, leave the team, without giving us any directive of how to improve on the feedback that's been done. Feedback that was given, obviously something was valid, which we've taken into consideration. Obviously it was voiced, myself was closed in suggestions too early. I'll listen, I see it. So that has been made apparent. But we have been obviously dealing with the fallout of looking at these comments and essentially trying to understand what people want in terms of solutions going forward. So that is what we've been dealing with. It has put a major burnout on us mentally because we've had to deal with a lot of people inciting drama, not criticism, genuine drama or misinformation, which could be resolved very easily by just being an adult. So that's what one of the crux of things we've been dealing with. People may have been kind of seen as well that obviously the law team has been going through a bit of a phase, and we're at a point where with 1.29 coming up, we are looking at options for the future on the server. As it stands currently, we have a few options in mind, but I want to kind of throw this out there for the upcoming changes in terms of a wipe. We are looking to do a full wipe. Not law wipe, just a full character wipe. That's everything on your person, bases, loot, etc. So does anybody have any major opinions of that? Anybody think it's a good idea, bad idea? We just want to get a general kind of a general sense of what people think of how it would affect the server right now if they were on the server and they had to wipe. It doesn't include characters. Economy wipe only. There is a potential on the context of this. If the server is wiped, you will not start at Stonington. There will be a shift in law and a shift how we're going to do law going forward from what the team has been discussing. So it will be different to what you're used to anyway if the server does wipe. It won't be a full law wipe. You will retain your individual characters, factions, etc. There will be some changes to law in terms of there'll be some changes to the law. So I'm not going to spoil our potential suggestions, but yeah, there'll be a lot of things removed and it'll be more streamlined, understood, and accessible. But Scott can go with more for you.
So with lore changes, it's just going to be a structure change. Is our main priority right now is how we're having lore. We had too many writers, we had too many authors, and a lot of you guys complained about it. Stories felt unfinished. Stories felt like they weren't depth. A lot of you guys tried to dig deeper into the story, and that was our intent at the beginning of the server, but it faded away because we added too much shit. And we got the notice. A lot of people complained that there's too much. There's this, and there's going left and right. So we are shrinking down our lore team to an expansive amount of just a couple of authors. Nothing too major, nothing too nothing. We're still going to have our main lore, which is the SCPs and the SCP Foundation, stuff like that, and then our environmental. So it still gives you guys something to fight. So that is kind of looking forward. Because there will be events out there that won't mean anything to the deep repetitive storyline. It just gives you guys something to do for a day while we're in lore break or lore writing and stuff like that. but there'll be a difference, and we'll have writers on both sides working on both the spectrums to make sure that you guys get the proper content and the depth of content of role play. With that, with us shrinking down our team, we are going to be possibly opening up an event team, but this event team is not going to be it's going to be a short notice team / a kind of a pop-up event team. Right, unless we have a big lore event, then we'll ask for some people who are actually, dedicated to the server, who actually, understand metagaming and stuff like that. Because I've always been strict with lore team, and the lore team so far are really good. The problem is it's just trusting people with like lore information, especially with events. We all know people have metagamed already. There's really no stopping that. So there'll be a very strict event team to who is allowed to join. And when the application goes out, we'll only be accepting a few people who actually have shown the appreciation of the story and not just trying to cheese away inside of something. That's going to be like the main structure thing, the lore. Now with lore itself, also I've talked about the main and environmental. But we're actually hammering a storyline where actually players are immersed into the story, and there's not multiple doors through different routes. There's a focus, there's a drive, there's directive, and there's not 3,000 different people and 3,000 different stories and this and that. One of our major complaints so far was SCP Foundations, Chaos, and all these other groups, these admin factions, so-called. A lot of them are like, well, how are people getting into them? A lot of people are like, well, how do we get into them? Like, what is the cause? Yes and no, this and that. And one of the things we want to talk about today is hearing your guys' opinions on this, because it's a very big topic. Is obviously if you work hard enough towards these admin faction groups, you can, kind of be a part of them, so to say, not actually part of the admin faction, but represent the admin faction and kind of get a little bit of payoff from it. And a lot of the complaints I've gotten and seen is people don't like that. People don't like the involvement of admin faction and player groups, stuff like that. So that's kind of up for debate right now of where that kind of lies with how that works. But with the future of dedication of lore, and especially the story itself, a little bit onto the server dedication, is we sat down multiple times and we all agree that this is an SCP server. It's a horror server. It's supposed to be hard. And right now it doesn't produce that challenge. And with obviously these admin factions, stuff like that, it kind of breaks that tension. With it being, again, just confusing left and right. So we want to drive a story that actually you guys go outside your bases, you take the risk of going into the horrors of the land. We're dealing with all the things out there and getting information. We're working on stuff, and especially documentations, to where you leave your base, you go loot into some random cabin, you could find documents, or you could find a little lore thing, or you go outside looking around at these major towns or operations, military zones. So instead of doing the ticketed system, which a lot of you guys have been doing, going to places and ticketing, saying, hey, what do I find? There will actually be stuff there. An interactive lore world where you guys actually have to leave the bases, you have to leave your comfort of your home, taking that risk to expand your knowledge of the story and the environment that's building around you. But when it comes to all these groups, these head honchos, it's going to be well focused again. And a lot of times we don't have the staff. And again, a lot of these POIs or these places get in contact with these admin groups. A lot of people rather went to them or didn't get any information over there. And it was a very eclectic shit show when it came to us trying to communicate with the players and stuff like that. Since, again, we have a life. We can't stalk KMOC 24/7 or other places and POIs that were POIs for the Foundation, stuff like that. With the wipe, what Luke was saying about the whole change of St. Stonington, it's a different place. There would be a very big incline in lore, where again, you have to talk and walk, you have to go around, or players rather will work together or even exclude their, you're fighting amongst each other for knowledge and information. Again, at the end of the day, it's a hostile environment when it comes to the situation out there with the people. So you have to kind of pick your battles, especially with what's going on the island. You have to choose humanity in itself or if your goals as a person is more important. So that's going to be some fun, adding all this stuff that with the lore. With now the kind of position I'm in, especially for being head of lore, I'm putting my foot down with a lot of the directive and storytelling. Make sure it actually makes sense. The stories are deep to where you're not going to get your answers right away. You have to read, you have to look, you have to kind of, read in a little bit deeper. You have to think, you have to show other people these lore information because they have some other piece of the puzzle. It's basically going to be one big puzzle piece where you guys are going to either have to work together or fight together, or maybe fight each other for puzzles or the puzzle pieces to the information itself. So it gives you guys more, again, directive towards the end goal. So there will be a definitive end goal. Like there will be something like that. I know with the Shadow King you guys had, again, that was a very definitive end goal with that, and that kind of went away. We were adding a new one, and with all this other stuff, with all the other excess of factions, this will be a definitive end goal that'll be there for a while, and you guys will have to do what you need to do in the real world.
I just want to address some things on the technical side. I'm kind of reading about, like sort of map edits, your base edits. Yes, base edits will be kept. Some of them, though, we will be looking at scaling down. So existing map edits anyway, we're pretty lenient with them, giving you guys space, and it's been one of the things we've also suffered from, is that, as I put in one of these suggestion posts, we have had people bite the hand that feeds you. We've had people take the piss, and kind of, when we made changes, give us half feedback. When we're asking for feedback, the reason that, like, for example, I need recordings on certain things is because I need to see what I need to change technically. When people say Zeds are too hard, and I go around and loot Area 42 in different places on a test server, perfectly fine, it kind of doesn't help me define those technical changes. So just now, fronts anyway, technical changes will come. There'll be a different approach and different setup to how we used to. Mods will be removed, mods will be added. We are looking at putting a new storage mod in. We're probably not rags. We've got another one in mind that has a lot of aesthetic and other roleplay items that will help support roleplay from that POV. But on a technical standpoint anyway, the server will be a lot different, kind of how it is anyway. The one thing I do want to raise is we are potentially looking at swapping to first person only. It's been a thing that we want to ask the people first to emphasize the horror side of it. So we do kind of want people's general opinions on first person and what they will think about that. Yeah, it would be first person only. There'd be no third person. There'll be no third person at all. Purely first person only.
Let's make this easier. Can we do that?
We can put a poll out for it anyway. I just want to see the
Yeah,
general
so I could
consensus anyway.
literally put a poll right here.
Yeah, no. I'm kind of looking anyways. To be fair, it's There is a mod that obviously can force you to go first person when you get your gun out. The reason why I'm not saying that, and the reason why I'm like I'm personally not a fan of first person. I like third person better, but as a perspective for looking at it from the point of the horror theme, we wanted to make it more horror based. So that's why obviously first person only is looking at it anyway. But if there's like, as I can see, there's like a split opinion in what people think, we will put out a poll, and obviously we'll have all those options in. But we just kind of wanted to have a generally see what the community think on that anyway to do that. So I will put that in my notes here anyway.
We have to figure out third person abilities and when you can use it and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's different ways we can do it anyway. So it's the thing about viewing your drip. You can go in your inventory, and like that's viable enough. You can turn off the view animation mod anyway, so you can still look at your drip. So I think it's fine. Maybe I'm right. Okay, if that's the case, then that's fine. Like the main thing is obviously just looking at ways to make it more immersive for you. So really kick in the horror side of it. We don't want to make it too hard anyway. There are mods that force first person only. I know which mod it is anyway. So like I said, we can't look at it, but we do generally want to, like I said, make it more horror based with the other technical changes that we will be putting into the server. So that's fine. We can put that anyway. So I'm also going to address one of the big things that people keep suggesting, and I'm going to make this very much apparent in this meeting now. The suggestions we've had about minors, 18 plus. I'm going to say this once, and that'll be the end of it. And I'm going to go over this. So, the server was originally 18 plus, and from the original suggestion when we had this conversation, we allowed approved exceptions in, because at the time, those people were vouched for by members of the community who were good role players, and the members who were vouched for were arguably giving better role play and more mature than 90% of the populace at the time. We honored that system because we didn't feel like it was fair to rob anybody of that right, even though personally, like me as an individual, I've always stuck to 18 plus. That's always been my thing. I'm not a fan, but at the same time, as I said before, I'm kind of a hypocrite. I was on Dayz RP when it was 16 plus and I was 14, so it's I personally have much stake in that argument anyway. But the general consensus was the player base voted to be 18 plus enforced. End of. I know some people in there anyway with the minors. Obviously, Chris, Jen. I know you guys were giving really good role play, and I'm aware. Like we were watching. We do monitor stuff, and we have watched it. And Chris, your storyline as a part of it was probably better than some of the people in the server that came in and complained about the roleplay, in my opinion. I've seen it there anyway. But the problem is, as much as Catherine, like, as kind of you just said about the people who voted no, where are they now? There was about 140 people that voted yes to 18 plus enforced and about 30 or 40 no. That was the general consensus we got. And we're not going to go back on that because our integrity is when we make a decision like that, we stick by it. I personally not a fan because it did rob some people of that, but I see different sides of the conversation and how people have approached the conversation. And don't get me wrong, everyone has a point at some stage, and there's not any one argument that kind of buffers it. The only thing I will say, I'll make it very much apparent. The people that have influenced this conversation with the malignant approach of the paedophile comments, I'll say very much outright, that is fucking unacceptable. Given the context of the server and that the staff have been very much open to listening, to enforcing it, and kind of trying to ensure that obviously everyone has a fair say. Personally, seeing that kind of shit makes me concerned that if the community is just going to be like, well, ban all the minors from every single roleplay server, how are they meant to learn? Like, how are they meant to get experience? How are they meant to learn? That is one of the sides that you could go down anywhere. But I will say that we as staff team don't appreciate that malignance that comes from that side of the conversation, but we do listen. Everyone has a point. That I've kind of made the points and suggestions, the conversation I've been on. We've seen it, we hear it, but we have to stick by it. Look, I get people commenting like, where are these people now? Where are these people now that voted? You know what I mean? Like, there's some people that are still here, even though the eye closed and we said, no, we banned soft raiding because soft raiding was abused. We have to stick by those decisions. We have to stick by, unfortunately. People might disagree with that decision. Like I said, I'm not a fan because those people who were in the exceptions, the minors were in the server, have proved their maturity and that they could RP better than 90% of people. I'll be honest, that's what I saw. and it kind of proves that there is a leg to stand on, but a decision was made, and we have to hold our integrity to that decision, unfortunately, and keep at it. So, I'll have to take a quick drink. That is where we're going from that. That will stick, and that will abide by for as long as the server is up, unfortunately. We are not going to change it. We have to stick on that decision, even though some of us may not agree with it. And that, unfortunately, is just the way it is. So I just want to put that to bed right now and say that it is what it is. And as much as it is shit to see some of the people go that were good role players, you know. Duck, in regards to Keen from the Discord, no. Because Red, for example, is on the retexture team and does work as a retexture member. So I'm not going to boot them from the server when they're not really experiencing anything that's there. They're not in the roleplay. And given Red's doing work for the team, and he has done work for the team, done some good work in the retexture side of it, I'm not going to rob the retexture team of a member just because they're a minor. It's not the best thing, Kashmir. It really isn't. It's not the best. The conversation's always 50-50, and there's points on either side. You know, it's been a hard thing for us, but when there was an outright vote of it, it's like, well, we can't keep coming back, you know, going back and forth, because then it then breaks our integrity of the server if we're sticking by a decision. So we have to stick by it. It is what it is. So yeah, that will be that. We're not going to revote. We're not doing anything of the sort. We have to stick by that decision, unfortunately. As much as some people disagree, and I appreciate your decision to disagree with that. That's fine, you know, then it is. We're not going to remove him from the Discord. We're going to leave as it is. It's already been done, Kashmir. The decision was made. If people would have actually given more decisions prior to this vote, we would have. But seeing as though the original thread blew up and people outright just did it and the vote was put, yeah, we are where we are, unfortunately. So that's that. Apart from that, just to go back, obviously that's all these suggestions and stuff anyway. To kind of go over this, the next kind of few weeks, months for the server. Now, with 1.29 coming up, we are potentially looking at putting the server down for a good amount of time. We want to know people's opinions on this because we want to basically, if we do go ahead and make the change we're making, we will have to do a lot of technical changes, testing, revamping of stuff. It will be, we will need to put time into making sure that when we put the server back up, when you guys experience the new phase, if you want to call it 2.0, chapter 2, however you want to call it, that it's done right and it's done in a way that is fair. So it's, don't get me wrong, like it is you can say it's kind of dead, but you know it's there's no directive at the moment. We've not got any new stuff in, and
with a time and it's dead. Like there are people that play on it. There are simple people that play, and there was a lore being pushed currently now until the 1.29, and we again have been talking about new mods, new technical aspects of the game, new lore pushing, POI additions, stuff like that. It goes into a whole conversation, especially where we put ourselves as a community and put ourselves as a server. All of the staff team can kind of agree that this server is just too easy. This is not what we wanted. We didn't want it there be thousands of guns that are able to be found. A lot of these places that are supposed to be fucking hostile are not really hostile. There's not a lot of SCPs out there roaming the world. There's not a lot of shit right now. All right. So there's going to be no time frame of how long the server's not going to be down. We are going to be wiping if this is the case. We plan on wiping on 1.29 to give the last week of, you know, hey, like, thank you guys for playing our server. We're going to shut it down for a little bit. And we're going to fucking work our asses off behind the scenes, give you guys updates, stuff like that. because the approach that we're doing it down the road is it's not going to be the same server you guys saw. It's still going to have the same lore story that you guys will. You guys will be able to keep your characters. Now, about like the map wipe, whatever, and all of that stuff, it comes down to how we're going to end product it and to a lore standard, and as well as the game itself. We do not plan on making it easy for you. We do not plan on being nice. It will be a fucking total shit show. I've always said that you're going to die in this server, and so far that's not been the case. Completely 180 change. You guys will experience it. This will not be a Dayz server. You won't be able to go out and loot every 5 hours that you can. Like, you're going to have to take risk to go loot. You're going to have to take risk to go RP. And if you want to sit inside your base, you're going to sit inside your base. But this will be a general horror server. It will be hardcore, like it should be. Well, downtime, I can't give you a date. We want to make sure that when we post it out, when we release you guys back into the server, we want to make sure it makes sense. The game actually works, the loot economy works, the drive of the server works, and especially, last but not least, the roleplay and the lore that we give to you guys.
So just to address the first thing from Wool, in terms of the goal for the server going forward, think of it like Chapter 2. Chapter 1's coming to an end. Chapter 2 will be the next step. You will retain your characters. You will retain the existing lore you've got, but the lore will be changed in terms of more streamlined in a way that's like Scott's already gone over in terms of how we're doing it. That's where we're going for it. We want to make things a lot easier to understand, access, but on the technical side of the actual game, a lot harder. A lot more decisions need to be thought of and made in a way that you will have to work with people, you will have to collaborate, or you'll have to go against other people and burn bridges or, create enemies. It will be, when you walk out the door, there is a chance you will not return. If you go to a certain place, you may die and that is it. You'll be back at square one. A lot of people are not going to a lot of people are going to complain about this and that. This is why when Scott said there's no time frame for like when it'll be down and so forth, we generally obviously will make sure it's tested. It will be on the test server. I will be thoroughly testing it. I'll make sure the tap files are all right. Obviously, everything we are going to put in is fine and it all works. It's all fine anyway. I want to make sure that on the technical side anyway, when we do release Chapter 2 and we put the server back up, it is in a state that you can go in. We don't have to make any technical changes. We can focus on other stuff anywhere and do that. So that'll be that point anyway. So I mentioned about temperature. Winter will probably be removed, maybe, question mark, because of the way that the law will be. So there's a potential for that anywhere, just to make people aware. The thing about what did you say, Catherine? In terms of current active players, yes, you can continue your existing RP and telling stories. Your stuff, what you mentioned, will be implemented. I'm gonna essentially go around and do a check and basically have it that everyone who has something existing is done. Anything new will not be implemented at this time. So that will be that anyway. Doing that in that kind of aspect. The winter, the winter will be relaxer for potential law reasons anyway. What do you mean by full law wipe, Al? You mean like just because we can't really do a full law wipe?
We do a full war wipe. That means everyone starts brand fucking new. No groups are established. No nothing.
Which I feel is a bit with the current factions that are in the server with you all here. No, that won't be a thing. So the reason why I say this is that with the with the way that Chapter 2 will work, your factions and your goals, what you all are working towards individually and collectively in your own individual factions, you will have much more ability and much more freedom to focus on your goals. They'll be more, your goals will be more accessible, I'll say that much. I'm not trying to give anything away, but yeah, you will be able to, if you're doing science work, you'll have more chance for science work. If you're doing intelligence, you will have more intelligence work. The role play will be there for you, essentially. You'll be able to do it. So that will be accommodated for. Saying that, just before we oh yeah, staff apps. I will say, quite frankly, people here do have apply for staff. Staff apps have been reviewed, interviews have been done. I will make a decision today or tomorrow when I'm not half day for being hungover. That will still be the case. Staff will be going through a quite a small revamp anyway, and yeah, I've seen that. I've seen your staff app catch me out, so it was creative. I'll give it that. So apart from that, I will open the floor to questions. I'll answer the current questions anyway. So in terms of the population, wool, yes, more than likely. I'll speak to Sitch about that. If there's no point keeping 80 anyway per se, we can just lower it to 60. So I'll speak to him about that anyway and see what he wants to do. Lexi, yes, yeah, Frisbee answered that, so that's sorted. If anyone has any other questions, feel free to ask them now, and we'll answer to our best abilities without giving you anything away.
I'm also going to say this now. Stop posting memes in the chat when people are actually trying to have a conversation. If I see you guys posting memes, I'm just going to time out you for about 5 minutes.
Howie, unknown at this moment in time, because we need to plan it out, because there's a lot of planned stuff we need to do. There's a lot of stuff I need to consider, a lot of stuff I need to mock up and do right and make sure it's done right, which means it'll take a lot of my time to make sure type files are all right, the configs are all right, the existing mods are removed, mirror the server how it is now on the test server, implement all the new changes, which obviously I'll be kidnapping Frisbee for at some point and kidnapping other people in staff team to help with that. So there will be that point anyway. What else have we got? Beef Ashton Scorched. I don't know what he's on about,
but I think so about my movie.
Yeah. In terms of the next chapter, I'll speak to Scorched on that anyway. In terms of the in terms of how that will transition, because we do want to have a transitioning period for it. We have a few things that we can look at doing. So this was more so to get everyone's opinion on what they thought generally was a good thing going forward, and pitch you our ideas, which has been generally well received. So there will be a, like I said, transition period anyway for it. With 1.29 coming up, we will see if we can do that anyway. So that will be a thing. Whitelist, well, no, not at this moment in time, because the whitelist process we actually made harder because people were just AI in their applications and just not reading shit. So we made it a little bit harder. So not at this moment in time. No, we went from no whitelist and we had a lot of problems with people coming in, breaking rules, just being chimps. So yeah. Medical mod, probably not. It's too much of a. So the medical mod anyway. If you Tertius medical mod's got a lot of code in it, like I think Admiral said before, and it was a bit chimpy in terms of what's in it. I don't trust it. Some of the medical mods anyway are very extreme, and you will spend more time trying to fix yourself instead of roleplay. And I think it will decrease your amount of time to roleplay than actually do something PvE based. So in terms of medical mod, not right now. If it will, it may be a thing down the line potentially. There is that anywhere. Custom shit, yes, retextures will be comped at some depending. We'll speak about that anyway. Like I said, we will wipe, but we have got a few systems we might be able to do with that. So that will be worked anyway. I'll write that down, but it is something we are considering. Yes and no, CJ. Essentially, it's on you guys to tell those stories. You guys are the role players. We will give some brief. There will be lore at the start of chapter 2 anyway for pre and post chapter 2. That will be there for you to read. But essentially, it's on you guys as role players to tell those stories. They are your stories that you've created, you've experienced. We don't want to spoon feed people. It is on your BS if you want to tell those stories anyway for the people who join in chapter 2 anyway and that part of it. Benay, I've already answered your about the whitelist application. I've made it a bit. It's a bit harder now anyway, but if not, I can. Yeah, it is. It's kind of simple and hard at the same time. You just got to read it. So we'll do that. Right, people who hold cars and such. So vehicles will be approached differently in chapter 2. With the way chapter 2 will work, we'll see how we deliver that. I can't really say much on it because it'll spoil some of the shit that we've got planned potentially. So I can't really talk too much on vehicles at the moment. People with the involvement with the foundation, there is a plan for that. We will look at fleshing it out, and Scorched, I'll speak to him about that because there'll be a certain way we go about it anyway, but that we're aware of that. We are looking at solutions for that. It will make sense. It will be realistic, and you will have some measure of law. You won't be CK'd. That's not. I don't think we've got any plans to CK anybody anyway for that kind of stuff. Andy, no, you don't need to re-whitelist. Shazza, yes, there will be a new storage mod. The storage mod we're going to put in also has a lot of aesthetic stuff, so that will be there. Yes, map will remain Deer Isle. Server wipe will be a full. So server wipe, all lore characters and lore existing information will remain. So your characters will stay the same, and all knowledge they retain will stay. Your bases, cars, everything on your character will be gone. Everything. So there's that. Storage limit, potentially. If we see people hoarded storage, you will be told, because we're not dealing with that shit anymore. The amount of shit people have currently is crazy, and yeah, it's not going to be a thing. We may write something up for it. Storage mod, yes, it will be less intensive server-wise, and it will be more both aesthetically pleasing for your bases, and also it will give you a lot of different variants of what you could do with it. Spawn rates on all items. So just to make people aware on this, the loot will not be the same as what you've already seen it. The loot will be a lot more restricted. We want to make it where if you find something, if you find an item, whether it's a gun or something similar, it'll be like finding gold. Like you will be like finding gold, essentially. So there is that. There will be options for collectible stuff anyway. Mates, don't do, but there There'll be that anywhere there. Kieran, nice armor and crossbows, yes, but that shit is actually pretty OP. Unless they nerfed it. Last time I remembered it, it was fucking silly. So we will look at putting that and others in anyway, to be fair. So, but yeah. All right. Well, yeah. Problem solved. Infected will be reworked potentially. We'll look at that we have been looking at it anyway. Currently, we are still tinkering with it. So there is that. Anybody else have any other questions they want to ask or they want to go over? Yes, Power. Unsure yet, yes. They may be eventually rare, but I need to work it out of how to realistically have the level of escalation done properly. So, you know, mutant zombies, potentially different zombies, potentially. I'm gonna go harass Frisbee about that one. Trading groups, James. Trading groups. We'll see. That there will be nothing yet because we need to assess it. So there will be that anyway. What else? Faction size limits. Not at this moment in time, but yeah. Just DM me exactly what you mean, Chico, because I think I know what you mean, but I just need to confirm. Delta skills mod, probably not. We're a roleplay server. It's not a PvE server. We want to have roleplay, and I think the skills mod anyway just creates this aspect of. It feels more like a game than roleplay, so probably not unless it does make sense. But with the change we put in anyway, I wouldn't see it as needed, to be honest. But I can test it anyway and see if it works. It makes sense. I do know the servers do use it, so I can potentially test it anyway and see how far we get with it. Scotch, do we want to give them a rough idea of what Chapter 2 will be like, or are we just going to leave it unmentioned?
Basically, what do I say this up? The idea of it right now is that when the wipe comes because of something happening on the island, which hopefully in the next week, 27th is the wipe, or the 1.9? 1.29, 7 days?
Yeah,
coming up 27th.
Yeah, that's my birthday.
Fucking 12 days. So 12 days, we plan on showing you guys some changes to the actual land and how it will be getting, again, kind of closing chapter 1. Basically, the Foundation, who you guys have no feelings for, is going to contain you to a certain location, while the infection, or let's say the outbreak of SCPs, masses on the mainland of the island. You guys will be limited to zones, and instead of a wipe to where you guys will just be running north to get as much good loot as you can, the first week is probably going to be you trying to get some role play in and learn what the fuck's going on and stuff like that. And kind of push you to an aspect to where, again, you guys kind of be, let's say, tampered with, because at the end of the day, it is how you are going to be able to fight and get back to where you guys, again, could get into more POIs, get more resources and stuff like that. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but we do plan on wiping when 1.29 comes out. A date of when we're coming back up, I don't know. I don't think any of us knows because we all just need to fucking make sure that this actually comes up properly. We have a story, the loot economy is good, and we have certain sets, and we actually have a direction we're going. Before it wasn't kind of that. We also want to kind of work with the community as well. Because again, this is not, you guys play our server, but we also want to make it to where we set it at the beginning, what we wanted to do, which was make it hardcore. So that's going to be our plan. My job as lore is to make sure you guys at least have something to go do and go explore. Even when I'm not on, there will still be stuff to do.
So just to add some of the questions, Chris. Yes, but there's going to be a risk and reward factor in there. I'll say that much. So yeah, there'll be a massive risk and reward factor. CJ, all existing map edits will be kept. Some people will be reached out, Howie, to revise their prefabs. I will say some people. If you CJ, if you don't have one at the minute, if you want to make one, just let us know before we do it. Because like I said, anything existing faction-wise, I'm willing to honor to give you a little bit of something when you go back in. So if you want to do that, feel free. More than happy to, like I say, have that conversation. Yes, the wipe will essentially be anyone who is inactive will have their stuff removed. So anyone who is inactive will have their stuff removed. If they want it back, they'll have to do it via roleplay, because that is only fair for the rest of the people anyway that will be roleplaying on the server that have roleplayed to get XYZ. Duck, I'm testing that at the minute. I have to run something by Scorched about that for a certain place. But I'll just say that it's on the list anyway. I have to look into. There's a few things we have to be careful with that. And I've fucking killed myself like 3 times with it already. So yeah, I have to be be a bit careful with it. Taking over base edits. So, I'll say this. That can be a potential. We would hope people would have common sense of it being a wipe and us honouring keeping your map edits, to not start being rats and taking over people's base edits. We would hope people have common sense to be a bit more like, yeah, I'll leave it for now anyway, but that is another conversation itself anyway, so in terms of this Odium, yes and no. We're not trying to go full hardcore, add like all the pay mods and like do it fully hardcore. We want to be able to give breadth to roleplay, but we want to give a bit more of a horror thing. Like, we will look at obviously enforcing first person with you gun out when you got your gun out potentially. We will look obviously changing with the loot works. We will make it so it will be harder, and it will give you the ability to, like you say, incentivize factions and alliances and all the things. You will have to work together in some regards. It will make you think about what you do, who you speak to, who you associate with, for that express purpose. No, we're not having trader NPCs and like AI shit. No. Yeah. As Smith says, well, fair point. If someone's taking Epidie, that is a easy hard to get anyway, to be fair. So, yeah. So, anybody else got any questions they want to ask? Anything they want to go over? No. Clothing will be in abundance. We're not taking away all the clothing. No.
What I mean by loot, it's like the hardcore. Like, no one should be rocking around with fucking a machine gun or a fucking M4 with a 60-round magazine day 2.
Yeah. Essentially, yeah. Does saying that now we've answered the text questions. Does anybody want to? If you want to voice your questions, or if you do want to do it, feel free to put your hand up, and we'll pull you one by one. If you have anything you want to voice, just click the little hand icon wherever it is.
So raise your hand.
Yeah. Yeah, if you try, you can still type. Oh, Jimmy, it's not tools gonna be rare. It's more so any OP stuff that's gonna be rare, like explosives, all like. Well, I mean, tappers aren't gonna be in completely anywhere.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff. Tools will be easily. Will. Excuse me. They won't be in abundance, but they won't be minimal either.
Simple thing to say: tier 4 and above is going to be rare. Simple.
Yeah.
Fuck.
All right, Sage, I'll just answer this one last question. I'll invite you to speak. Battery drain. I'll look into it. I'll look into it. I'll put it on this.
BJ.
Oh, okay. So, kind of given the fact that, based on what you guys are saying, that everything will be kind of done incrementally. So we start at one location and then slowly expand out, which kind of is cool. The concern necessarily, like I mentioned, would be the, I guess, the faction locations. If factions do want their stuff, obviously you said just DM you guys and that will happen. And the hard rate ticket. But for, I guess, people or factions that are kind of taking a knee, is this going to be something that is going to be done by a ticket if they show back up and be like, where the absolute hell is our stuff?
What do you mean by taking a knee? Like, everyone's taking a break. The wipe's not going to be. I'm not going to promise any dates. We're not going to promise any dates because last thing we need to do, like other servers, hey, we're wiping. We're opening our server next week, and then they don't do the fucking thing. Like, we are not going to give you a date until we have fully confirmed that we are ready. And then we're going to be like, all right, in 2 weeks, we're going to fucking reopen. This week is going to be testing where you guys can do a fuck with our server, do dumb shit on our server. And then, all right, cool. We'll do the last week of fixing things, make sure everything's good. We'll open it for another 2 days for retesting. And then, boom. And by that time, we will make sure it's very, very known that factions who are taking breaks, because everyone, believe me, everyone's taking a break. There's other games out there that people have been playing. There's other RP servers people have been going to. We see it. It's not that hard. We hear it. So the factions that are taking a break, this is their time to take the break. But when they come back, or you're not fast enough to go to your base, I don't think anyone's going to be an asshole, because I think everyone, that, especially big faction, are going to go back to their old location. They're not just going to go to random locations and go, oh, look, here's a base edit. Let me go here. But when it comes to, again, the base edits and stuff like that, we're still talking about that. We're still going to work through that. Because personally, I say fuck the fucking map edits. Some of them are fucking crazy, and some of them are absolutely outstanding. That's just my opinion on it. So that's still a conversation of how we're going to do the map edits and stuff like that.
Okay. And then the second question is, I know that you guys did talk about the new zombies. With that, because of, I guess, the gear being, I guess, finding a gun is kind of like finding gold. Is that going to be something that's going to be taken into account? Because typically on servers, it's either they're super fast and they're paper kites, or they are slow and they'll murder you. It's kind of a weird position to, well, have all three: fast, tanky, and well, numerous.
So there will be different tiers of threats. So some Zeds will be easier to kill, some Zeds will be harder to kill. It's not like you're not going to be able to get weapons. You just won't get any high tier weapons.
Guns, little rifles, fucking baby AKs. Maybe not even that. UMPs.
So it's basically up like a tier level system. So when you get certain places, it will be harder because there will be more threats there and different kinds of threats. But obviously, we'll still make it that where you are anywhere. Where you spawn essentially, you will be able to survive. You won't be done over by infected. You won't be fighting tanky infected. It will be balanced. I will make sure I test it on a testing server, just to make sure we can get it right. Because my main thing will be is obviously once we get a full directive and full plan in motion, I'll have to go through all test all the mods, setting up all the other stuff, making sure it's exactly how we need it. So it will be tested. We may let other people test it anyway to see how they feel about it, and do it anyway. But yeah, it will be a thing. We'll make sure that it's fair and equal for everybody.
Oh, okay, Roger. I'll get off the stage.
Right. So I'm just going through the rest of it. Well, in terms of the changelog announcements, yes, when I'm doing the when I when I start doing all the testing and stuff, you will be informed. The nerfs were meant to be a bit of a final rank character thing, and they were meant to be we did it as a bit of a thing to adjust it. So we didn't fully communicate. That's fine. We will say it anyway. But yeah, it will be a thing. You will be informed about stuff anyway. I will make sure it is informed.
For Wisp comment on the IC radio cooldown. Personally, if you ask me and Luke about the IC radio, we both say it's fucking stupid. We both grew up playing roleplay servers where you actually had to leave your base and interact with people. There's no IC radios, no PDAs. Now, we're keeping it. No one get upset now. No one get upset. We are keeping it because a lot of people fucking want it. Will a cooldown lessen? Possibly. We removed IC radio initially because people are just being dumb with it. And they know who they are. We see who sends messages. We're not stupid. We see all the names who send messages. So it's a shit show when it comes to that.
In terms of the cooldown, I am willing to I am willing to maybe look at reducing it in terms of the cooldown time. But I will say, if we do reduce the cooldown time and we see any abuse of it, it is gone permanently, no questions asked, and it will be gone. Simple as that, and it's not going back. I'll be straight up with you, because we are sick of people using it in bullshit manners like we do, and that's why it was changed anyway in the first place. People using the modern Discord clients and this and that to see messages, etc. So it will be that anyway. Half an hour is a fairly okay cooldown. It's not too excessive, but it's not too quick either. But lowering it anyway might be a good thing anyway. It's maybe 15-20 minutes. So that will potentially be a thing. So we'll see on that one. Yeah. There is.
Ace Burr wants to join. Aiden, welcome to the chat.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, let's go ahead.
So talking about IC radio, actually, there's a mod out there that makes it where all radios are connected, and there's like an item you can find that is like a chip that you can get private channels. I think that would be a lot better than using an IC radio, in my opinion. Because then, like, you're not on the game, you can't actually look and see what's going on. If your radio is on, you don't know what's going on.
So I know exactly what mod you're talking about. We've talked about that mod before plenty of times. We've talked about adding it, and we're good on adding it. It's just getting the mod here, and also with people wanting IC radio, I highly outfavor that mod being added instead of
Yeah,
that.
Like me personally, I prefer to have that mod over to IC radio because IC radio is kind of dumb in my opinion.
Agreed.
Like I'm used to like old school RP where you had to use radios, in-game radios to talk to people. So it's like for me, it's like I don't really pay attention to it like I should.
Cool. I will look at that mod anyway and see if we can put it in and see if we can find a solution for all that to get a bit more extension in terms of radio shit. So yeah.
Yeah, it's just a thought, so that way we can maybe find a better solution for RP.
Yeah. We'll look into it anyway. I've got it on the list now anyway. Stuff to do.
That's all I have to say. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Cheers, pal. Right. Anybody else got any other questions?
Can I get a short sit rep of what we went over?
The lore, talking about like the trapped inside a little containing zone, wipe. Talked about it being a full wipe, not a lore wipe, but a full like environmental wipe. We talked about 18 plus. It's still going to be a thing. We talked about different little mods, different aspects of how lore would be added.
As of right now, for the PV questions, it's something I plan to do down the road. I'm gonna be honest though, a lot of my patience with the game and my will to do anything for it has gone very slim because a lot of stuff has been going on. But I do plan to get it up eventually, but it's not in the works right now.
Cool. Any other questions we want to ask? Give it 5 more minutes anyway, and then we'll look at it. So we'll take the last couple of questions just so we're not dragging it on too long.
We do appreciate you guys playing. We do appreciate you guys sticking around. We again know the server has not been popular. Not a lot of people have been getting on, but there will be, you know, we still care about the server. We still care about you guys. At the end of the day, we want to make the server what we wanted it to be, and what you guys join the server to have it. We still had a lot of problems again, as we said, with staff, with floor team, people leaving, coming. Basically, at the beginning of the server, we were trying to get our cards straight, and with the staff team we have and the lore team we have got some good cookies. When it goes down the list of all of our staff team and lore team, we got some good guys and girls that really care about the server and want to give you guys the best excellence as possible. And we just want to be able to say, like, we still care and we're still going to give you guys something. We want to make this better. So this is why we're doing what we're doing, coming to talk with you guys, trying to see where you guys stand as well. And it looks like a majority of you guys agree and like what the future of the server has. So yeah, it sucks. Especially for me. I know I didn't want to wipe, 4 months into our little story here. But with the new updates, with what's going on in Deer Isle, with John McCain, and all the other stuff that have happened, we thought at a decision as a staff team, that's what we thought would be best.
Do want to appreciate everybody for showing up. We weren't prepared to truly have as many of you that did show up. We kind of thought it would have been much lower than what we expected. So the people who have showed up, truly thank you. It shows that people still care about our visions, and it's not even just ours, it's yours. So thank you for sticking around and giving hope in a good project that we hope to kind of fix and make a bit better.
I could speak.
No. I'm kidding.
I'll just shut up. It's fine. No, I was going to say, in terms of people requesting retextures, I am going to say that I'm probably going to close any more requests for now until we are sorted, just because it doesn't make sense for me to make all this stuff and then you wouldn't technically have it in a wipe situation. So no more retexture requests for the time being. Existing retextures, I can still I'll go through these and see what people want to do with them. What do you mean by retexture requirements? Oh, the way it's killing me. Oh no, you don't have to have a requirement for getting a retext. You can just put a retext request. Just obviously don't ask for something stupid that wouldn't make sense. Like don't ask for me to retext you a T-shirt that has some kind of weird meme on it that doesn't make sense or something. I don't know. It's a case by case thing. Nothing stupid, nothing offensive. Pretty much, but like I said, I'm not going to be accepting any more requests. I'm not going to let my team do any more retextures either until the wipe's done. And with the existing wipes, I will drop a message in all the open tickets now and just double check and see what people want to do with them, because I get the feeling some people wanted their wipe retextures for the snow, and if the snow's going away, they might not want them anymore. So just bear that in mind. Yeah, that's all I had to say. Thank you.
Just to cover on the server will be still up until 1.29 because we will allow a transition period for people to roleplay, and we will. I think we've got enough time anyway to do a bit of transition lore and roleplay. If I'm correct, Scorch, I think we'll have time to do that, won't we?
What's up?
To do a bit like transition roleplay and lore, give events and stuff prior to going into prior to the server being down.
I plan on doing it. It just depends on when I get time. I know a lot of my lore team is trying to do something. I don't know. I could give them the directive to do it. So that will be my goal in the aspect of giving you guys something at least to end on, to kind of give you guys what's going on with the server. There will be stuff. There will be stuff, so you guys have a rough idea of like, hey, what's going on, even if it's just kind of thrown at you guys. Not really much story developed, but there will be some massive thing at the end at least to give you guys something to shoot at and to waste all the ammo that you guys worked really, really hard to get.
Clothing wise, it's on the list. I've got a long list of stuff we're going to look at testing technically. Look at put it in. Loft, maybe. I'm not too sure yet. More colourful clothing spawns. Yes, question mark. I don't see why not. It won't be a priority. I'll make that very much apparent. The priority will be the core functions of what we're going to put in for chapter 2. But I'll add it on the list anyway to see what we can do in terms of colourful clothing. But it is, bearing in mind, it's a horror server. It's meant to be more gritty, meant to be more darker. So just bear that in mind anyway, to make people just be aware. Cool. So right now I'm going to cut off all questions and say, can I do like a bit of an outro, if you will? Obviously, as the guys have said, we appreciate everyone coming by and sticking by. We'll go into chapter 2. We do read your suggestions. We do read everything that's coming, and we will look at accommodating and speaking to people who obviously have been part of the server, have existing lore, have existing map edits, and we will make sure that going to chapter 2, you still have something that retains your group's individuality. We are not trying to obviously get rid of anybody's time and effort on the server. We are just trying to make things a lot more easier to access in terms of lore, easier to understand, make things a lot more harder, improve the quality of roleplay, and just change the experience so you guys have the control to provide the roleplay, provide lore to yourselves, and steer it in a direction that we think it should be in. And ensure that we keep that. The part of us being lenient has caused a fair few issues with how lenient we've been with lore and how open we've been for adding things between obviously members leaving stuff about. Obviously, our time and effort has been put into substantially, and as people are aware, we have been facing burnout. So it will be a kind of detox, a relax, plan it out, and then going into 1.29, look at wiping, putting all things back in the server, test it, and obviously relaunch it when we're ready to give you guys that new, fresh experience. So you got it there. So yeah, thanks for coming by, guys. We appreciate it. If anyone wants to ask any more questions, have anything information they want, feel free to either. I will upload this meeting anyway. I know people have been streamed it as well, but feel free to log a ticket. Whether it's a law question, whether it's obviously anything to do with we've talked about, yeah, myself or any of the guys, and we'll get you an answer. But yeah, thanks for coming, guys. Appreciate it. And
One thing I have to say, if y'all have questions, I know a lot of you guys had lore role play within your groups and stuff like that. Later tonight, I'll be available, and also tomorrow morning, afternoon, I'll be available to talk to you guys through your groups. We'll play. I know with the lore team, my main idea and drive is obviously get the server lore corrected and fixed, and have a directive, and then worry about each and every one of you guys' faction role plays. You guys want to drive into the server and stuff like that, because again, I care about every individual story. I also offer you guys like small faction RP and stuff like that. And I make it more clear of exactly what we would need from you for us to do that exact same thing. But if you have any questions about your groups and stuff to start getting writing up for me about, especially about this wipe coming up and all the other changes with lore, and I'll get to you in a VC either tonight or tomorrow. That's it for me.
Cool. So it's on the list, Teddy. Yeah, Drake, we will do. I will write up a recap anyway, and I'll put out like a big announcement anyway. So don't worry, it will be put out there anyway. It will be put out. I'm just gonna write up and do it in a proper way anyway. But yeah, everything will be voiced. Thanks for coming by, guys. Appreciate it. Announcement will go out about everything we talked about. But like I said, any questions, just let us know. But enjoy your night. Have a good one. Stay safe and take care, everybody.